Hey everyone, it's JD from the Smart Cleaner, and in this video, I just wanted to go quite a bit deeper into the structure and strategy of how you find and hire staff. So we've touched on it several times, and our last live we went over Heather's process. But we're kind of scratching the surface with that. So I just wanted to dive a little deeper. And so one thing I wanted to really drive home here is how important it is to have a structure in place and a strategy in place for one, how you find your staff, the process that you interview them, the process that you onboard them, and the process that you train them, and then your ongoing support and management of them. So there's a lot of elements there, right? So number one, how you find them, right? Number two, your interview process with them. Number three, your onboarding process. Number four, your training. And number five, ongoing support and management. Every one of those elements are just as important as the other. And without all five of those structures in place, you're going to continue to keep having the same problems that you're having with staffing and with managing your staff and with having staff in place that allows you the opportunity to grow and scale your business effectively. So let's start from the very beginning. Let's start from how we find our staff. So if you already have staff working for you, and one of them, two of them, three of them, four of them are awesome, are really great workers, and you can rely on them, it's worth sitting them down and having a conversation with them to find out really who they are and how that relates to your business. And so that's a staffing avatar. And so you need to fill out a staffing avatar so that you know who you're looking for. When you go out searching for staff, you know who you're looking for. Now, an important note is that this is just a guideline, right? Because it's important to have the structure in place, but there's an exception to every rule. It's important to have this structure in place so you're following something that has some consistency to it, but you never know. Don't let this be something where you don't explore an opportunity to potentially find a great staff member, because there is an exception to every rule. So just keep that in mind, right? Stick with your gut feeling when that happens. If you think you see something good that's away from the actual structure that you have in place, then explore that. Take some time to explore that, because that person could be a winner. But if you have this type of structure in place, and you can implement it and do it over and over and over again in a repetitive manner, eventually the type of staff that you're dealing with you're gonna have a lot more success with that. So think about who your great staff are now. If you don't have staff, then obviously you have to sit down and think about who you want, right? You could even look at yourself if you wanted, and use that as your customer avatar. Because you got into cleaning. What are the reasons you got into cleaning? And what do you look like as a person? So maybe your customer avatar your staffing avatar looks exactly like you. But if you already have staff, then I would suggest you sit down with them and ask them these questions. So, ask them what attracted them to your business. What made them say yes to wanting to work with your business? So, what are their employment goals? Your perfect staff member, team member, what are their employment goals? They just want a job, or are they looking to advance? Are they looking for career opportunities? Are they looking to learn more about this industry? Or are they just looking for something temporary? Are they looking for something long term, right? So you need to find out your current staff, what their goals are, what their employment goals are. The benefits they're looking for, right? What are they looking for in a job? Are they looking for the highest possible wage? Are they looking for paid holidays? Are they looking for a job that offers insurance benefits? Are they looking for flexibility of schedule? Are they looking for Monday to Friday, 9 to 5? what are they looking for in a job? What is it that attracted them that, yes, this is the job for me? Or for you, if you don't have staff, what did that look like for you? Find out, you want to go pretty deep into this, right? And I'll explain to you in a little bit why this is important. What are their interests? So your top staff right now, what are their interests? What do they like doing? Do they play sports outside of work? Are they interested in music? Are they interested in arts or entertainment? What kind of person are they? What motivates them? What do they get excited about? What do they love doing away from work? Find these things out. Demographics. Are they a single mother? Are they married? Are they single? What's their age? Are they male or female? Do they have a high school education? Do they have a college education? What's the distance that they live from the area that you service? So it's important to understand that you can't make this a condition of employment, right? This staffing avatar is not a condition of employment, because you can get into trouble with that, right? This is just for your own starting point to be able to say, this is what my perfect candidate looks like. So that you're conditioned in your mind to know when people are applying, do they fit these elements that make up a perfect staff member for you, right? Are you checking off all these boxes? But again, it can't be a condition of employment. This is just a guideline, so that, because you already have staff and your best staff look like what? What do they look like? Well, go look for more people that look like them. Does that make sense? So just duplicate that, right? Rinse and repeat. When you have a winning strategy, duplicate it. But if you don't know what the elements are that make up that strategy, how do you duplicate it? So that's what this is about. It's just about creating an understanding for yourself about what your perfect team member looks like. So, just go over this stuff. Are most of your staff single moms, or are they married? Are they single? Go over this stuff and figure it out. So you know what they look like. You know who you're looking for. Their lifestyle. Do they own a car? Yes or no? Do they rent their own place where they live? Or do they live at home with their parents? Are there special circumstances, i.e., can they only work 2 days a week? Can they only work 3 days a week? Do they have to finish every day at 3, right? So look at these things. Do they smoke? Yes or no? Are they new to the cleaning industry, or do they have experience? Is this just a second job for them, or is it their main job, right? What does their lifestyle look like? Next thing is, how did they find you? So how did you find your perfect candidates or your perfect team members? Was it through a referral? Was it through Craigslist? Where did you find them, right? So once you understand all this stuff and you filled this in and you have your perfect team member avatar, so you know what they generally look like, when you're receiving applications, it gives you a better source of information to say, wow, they look a lot like my best employee right now. I definitely want to interview this person. Or they look nothing like that person. So will this really work out for them? Right? So you're pre-qualifying and you have a strong understanding of who it is you're looking for and where you find them. So, what would be the next step in that process? Well, the next step in that process is the ad you place. Okay? So step number 2 is the ad. So you're going to place an ad. What does your ad look like? What should your ad look like? Well, it needs to be a combination of several different things. And one of them is introducing yourself and introducing them to the opportunity. So if you take a look at this, what does the title say? Do you love cleaning? It doesn't say cleaners wanted or cleaners needed. It says, do you love cleaning, right? Do you pride yourself in a job well done? Do you have excellent customer service skills? Do you work well both with a team and independently? If so, then we want you to join our growing successful cleaning company. right? So you hear the positive messaging and the pre-qualifying questions without sounding bossy or, you're going to be our employee kind of thing. You see the road we're going down. It's very light and very positive. Are you a hard worker who wants to be appreciated for your contribution? Of course, right? Are you the kind of person that never calls in sick and wants to be a part of an exciting team? Sick of trading precious time for nothing more than a crappy paycheck? Then you just might be in the right place. So you see that messaging, how strong it is? It's a combination of positive and pre-qualifying, right? Are you the kind of person that never calls in sick and wants to be a part of an exciting team? See, it's positive and pre-qualifying. Then you move on to the benefits. Now, this is really important. If your business right now, the structure you have inside your business, doesn't scream to your potential applicants that this is an amazing place to work for, you need to set aside a day and sit down and create that type of structure inside your business. Immediately, you need to do that. It's fundamentally important to your long-term success and to keeping staff long-term. If it's just a job, and that's the only way you project it, and that's all that's in it for them is just a job and a paycheck if they show up and do the work, how long do you think they're going to stay with you? How long before they start looking for the next best opportunity? How long before somebody offers them 50 cents more and they're gone? How long before they start to go out on their own and take some of your clients with them, right? You want to make this the best job that they've had ever. Even though it's cleaning dirty toilets, it doesn't have to be a crappy job. Sorry for the pun. So benefits. So what's in it for them? This is the important element, is what is in it for me? What's in it for me factor. If you can get 20 points in here, that would be awesome. And don't just make stuff up. Make sure there are things that you can back up. If you're saying that this is a positive, respectful work environment, then you better be able to back it up. Like I said, you need to sit down for a day and put that in place and say, this is the type of work environment I'm going to create, and this is how I'm going to do it. On Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, when they come into work, I'm going to have breakfast for them and a celebration before they start their day, so they feel pumped up, full of energy, appreciated, excited, respected, right? You don't have to do it every day. Do it when there's special occasions or nice things coming around or a person's birthday or whatever, right? Make them, when they get up in the morning and they have to go clean toilets, you have to create a mindset. It's your responsibility as a business owner to create a mindset that they wake up in the morning saying, wow, I'm really looking forward to going to work today because I work for the best company. That's your responsibility as a business owner. If you're posting in cleaning groups day in and day out, complaining and bitching about your staff, that's your fault, not theirs, because you haven't created a structure that creates the foundation for having a successful team. And that's plain and simple. That's hard to listen to or hard to hear, but that's fact. That's fact. So let's review the benefits, right? And the $14 to $16 an hour, look, that's just a place filler, right? It's different for different cities, different states, different provinces. It's different everywhere. You have to look at the market. What is the going rate that the medium to sized cleaning businesses and the bigger franchise businesses are paying? Find out what they're paying and make sure you're on par or above that. But that relates to another topic, right? Can you afford to pay them properly? Again, this is another responsibility that falls on you. It falls completely on you to make sure you're pricing and bidding your jobs effectively so you can pay your staff effectively, right? So that you can have these incentives and wage increases and paid days off, right? You need to fit that into your costing structure. You need to be getting $40 to $50 an hour so that you can afford to pay the best staff and to show them your appreciation and to put money in your own pocket. And that training is in our sales training, right? So it shows you how to get the $40, $50 an hour. So wage increase after training. So after the 2 weeks training, you give them a wage increase. After 3 months, give them another one. And then at the end of the year, give them another one. It can be 50 cents, but at least they're seeing something, right? They're seeing something. Sometimes appreciating your staff just means more money, right? You need this structure in place. And let's go back to training. Yes, training. Training needs to be 2 weeks. Training is not a day. Training is not 3 days. Training is not 4 days. Training is not 5 days. It's 2 weeks. And then there's ongoing support and management. You need to have this structure inside your business, right? It's fundamental. Even if they have previous cleaning experience, they still need to be cleaning side by side with you or your team lead, because they need to know how you do it, how your company cleans buildings. It doesn't matter if they have 20 years experience. They could have bad habits from their previous situations, right? You need to see if they can break those bad habits and do it the way you know works, the formula you use that's creating success in your business. Paid vacation, paid days off, right? So how about after them working there for a year, they get 5 days paid, right? How about after 3 years being with you, they get 10 days paid? So what does that cost you? Well, what does it cost you to pay your staff every week? $400, $500? What type of revenue do they generate for you? Or do they service on an annual basis? Well, if they're working full time, they're probably generating somewhere between $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in revenue for you. Can you afford to shell out $500 after them being there for 12 months? There's a psychology aspect here too, right? You're dangling a carrot in front of them saying, hey, if you stay with us for a year, we give you 5 paid holidays. And then when you're with us for 3 years, we give you 10 every year. Paid in your pocket. Now it's a little different in Canada because already they get the 4% on top of, and some employers put it into their pay structure already, where every paycheck they get the 4%, and if they want to take holidays, they're kind of on their own. I would relook at that. I definitely would relook at that to see if there's something you can work out for them. Because this is a big thing, man. Like if I have an option between working for a cleaning company that gives me paid days off and ones that don't, I know which one I'm going with. How about this? Sorry, I missed one in here, but like I said, if you can get this list up, paid sick days, right? So we'll leave that up to you. How many is that going to be? How many paid sick days do you want to give them? Well, you don't want them to take advantage of you. But if they're a single mom with kids and they get stuck at home, I know this isn't conducive to your business, but put conditions on it, right? Give me notice. You need notice. So maybe give them 3 paid sick days a year, whatever it is, right? Obviously, you don't want it to interfere with your business, but you need your business structure set up so that you have people to fill in for them. Do you have the on-call people in place, right? Do you have that set up? Are you prepared to go back into the field and clean on the day they have off? Well, you should be, because I know cleaning business owners that run $1 million cleaning companies that still have to go fill in sometimes. Are you able to juggle your schedule? Do you have clients? When you were onboarding your client, did you say every now and again, and maybe once a year, once every 2 years, we may need to juggle a schedule if the person who services your home gets sick. Are you okay with that? Right? So manage their expectations ahead of time. So when these things happen, because they're going to happen, right? Employee benefits. Do you have any insurance benefits or health benefits or anything, right? Monthly bonuses and incentives. Now, a lot of people have a tough time figuring out what this should be. So the monthly bonus and incentive I like is, and it's a bonus and incentive, it's not a condition of working because you can get yourself in trouble, is if you show up on time, don't miss a day, and go complaint free for a month, there's an opportunity to reward them for that. And it becomes conditional, because if they're getting some kind of bonus every month, they're relying on that as their pay. And so they're going to make sure they show up on time, right? For that extra little something every month. Paid training. right? All your training must be paid. And we'll touch on this in a little bit when we get to the next section, but there's 3 interviews. So there's telephone interview, there's the in-person interview, and then there's the working interview. They get paid for that, right? They must get paid for that. Car allowance. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, some people pay for their travel time and it's just their standard hourly rate. I'm completely fine with that. I used to give everyone $6 a day for traveling if they use their own vehicle. It adds up, $36 a week, right? It should be enough to cover their gas. Or you can look at the other model where you just continue to pay them the hourly rate, however long it takes them to travel them. If they're there with you all day from 9 o'clock till 5, and they did 6.5 hours of cleaning, but there's an hour and a half traveling, you're still paying them for the traveling, right? Positive, respectful work environment. Again, this falls on you. This is your responsibility to create that. You can't just say, yeah, I'm going to do that. You need to sit down, like I said, for part of a day and put a structure in place. Say, this is how I'm going to do that. What if they asked you in the interview, what do you mean by positive, respectful work environment? Can you answer that question? You can say, well, yeah, like we treat our staff with tons of respect. We listen to them. We make sure that we have ongoing support and training for them. You make sure that you understand what that means and that you can answer that. Our team is our number one asset. A lot of cleaning business owners and a lot of business owners in general make a big mistake. They think their number one asset is the business itself. It's not, because without your staff, you don't have a business, right? And they're the ones that are out there in the community interacting with your clients, interacting with other people. They're the ones out there saying it's a terrible place to work and they're a terrible company, or they're saying it's an amazing place to work and it's an amazing company, right? They are your number one asset. Without your staff, you don't have a business. No weekends. Don't have to work on weekends. Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, right? No evenings. Now, this is different for different companies. Obviously, commercial companies are a little different. So again, whether you'd have this or not, opportunities to advance, right? So if you want to make more money and take on more responsibility, become a team lead, there's an opportunity that exists there for them. Employee appreciation days. Well, what does that mean? Well, again, we touched on it already. Valentine's Day. They come in and you've got a little Valentine's celebration for them. It's their birthday. You've got a little celebration for them in the morning before they start their day, right? Mother's Day. Same thing. Who knows? There's a million opportunities to do this. Okay, next. So what else is in the advertisement? Job requirements. Important they understand. Valid driver's license, positive background check, and completion of training. It's important they understand, right? Position summary. So you're talking about what the position entails, right? Very, very important. Cleaning appointments. So your responsibilities. Tells you everything you need to know about what the cleaning appointments look like. The administrative duties. Sometimes they're collecting payments. Keep an accurate log of appointments and details. Report any complaints or issues. So it's all very clearly outlined here. So you're being firm in this element so they know what they're in for. They understand what the benefits are of working for you. And like I said, if you can get this list up to 20, and don't just put something in for the sake of putting it in there. Put something in that really is a part of your business or that you're really implementing and that you can back up, right? And then here, we're pre-qualifying and getting them excited about this, right? Awesome. So what happens next? Okay, so you have 2 options. You can do a phone interview or you can do a live interview. So we have 2 different templates for the phone interview. So there's this one, which is you're just asking some standard questions, right? Are you okay with a background check, transportation, driving record? Let them know we're drug work free. And then there's another one. And I will be honest with you because it's important to be transparent. I did borrow this one. And I just love it so much. That's why I borrowed it. I love the information element of it, of what it's doing for you. So, tell me about yourself. And then they answer and you create a rating. So you can go back and review that. right? So instead of arguing in your mind about what the outcome of that phone interview was, you have it written down, and you can reference that. And if an employee becomes problematic down the road, you can go back to see where it went wrong, right? You're creating a roadmap here that will help you be more successful in the future. So, interview process. Let's talk about that a little bit. So you can do a weekly group interview where you just have a standard ad running and say, hey, we meet at 8:30 on Wednesdays. If you're interested in a position, show up. And that way you're dealing with everybody all at once. Or you do so you do the phone interview or the first in-person interview, right? Then you have to have a second interview. Again, this is about structure, right? If you interview someone on the phone and say, oh, she sounds great, and tell them to show up tomorrow, this is why you have headaches. This is why you have nightmares. This is why you always have staffing problems, right? So your one-on-one interview, ideally, you would like a team lead in the room, or a supervisor, or another cleaner, one of your senior cleaners, so that they can give you feedback on what that person looks like, right? What that looks like. Here's, what do we got here? I'm just going to go in and okay, so the second interview, we've got your questions here as well. And again, I borrowed this one, but we do have a second one if you're interested. Where are we here? So here's the second one. Tell me about yourself. Why did you leave your last job? So you're asking really great questions, right? And then there's the second one here, where you can rate it. Again, you have a point of reference. And what's this all about? It's about structure, right? It's all about structure. We're creating structure. So then you move on to the third interview, which should be a working interview, right? That's where they come up and work for a day, and they are going to get paid for that. Absolutely. So you want them to spend either a full day or part of your day with your team trainer, your team lead, or yourself cleaning beside you. Give them specific cleaning tasks to complete and inspect them. Take note. Did they show up early, right? Did they come prepared? Are they enthusiastic? Can they work independently? Can they problem solve? Right? So when you gave them these tasks to perform, were they able to complete them without asking you a million questions? Right? So here's something that's important to remember about that, is the question asking thing. There's good questions and there's bad questions. So are they asking you questions over and over again which say to you they don't have the ability to problem solve? Or are they asking you questions that matter so that they don't screw something up, and it's something that's obvious they should ask a question about so that it doesn't get screwed up? So you want to qualify that, right? At the end of the day, you want to review this, right? Go over the review. So again, you have your checklist, right? Where you go over how they did that day. And if you want to keep them working, if you want them to stay with you moving forward, you're going to want to sit down with them at the end of that day. So if you want them to come back and continue their 2 weeks training, you're going to want to sit down with them and do a review with them, of what you liked, what you saw, and the things that you think they're probably going to need to be working on for the next 2 weeks. Okay, so what's next is onboarding, right? You need to onboard them. So you need all this structure in place. So you can't see it up here, but there's a background authorization, cleaning team members, their job description, emergency contact info, their employee agreement, which has a non-compete in there. You have a checklist, so your employee paperwork checklist to make sure you have everything. There's I-9, there's W-4, independent contractor agreement, their performance review, policies and procedures. And if they do want an opportunity to become a team leader, here's an outline of what a team leader needs to be doing, right? So you want to onboard them. with their application and all the forms and elements that you need to bring them on, right? To make sure that you've got everything in place that you need to have in place because you're creating structure. Well, here you go, right? Like everything's here. If you're going through this process effectively and you have structure in place, what kind of mindset are you creating for the new hire, right? For your new team member? They see that there's real structure in place and that this is a real job. I'm filling out paperwork, right? I'm having to fill out paperwork here. This isn't just a place I showed up and they said, yeah, here's your cleaning stuff, go work. And then in 2 months, they quit on you. This has got structure. So they know they're involved with a real company that has structure. And this is a career opportunity and not just a job because they've got all the relevant information in place. So then you have your ongoing stuff, right? So time off requests, return to work policy, key and alarm codes, written warnings, termination, change of payroll information, client sheet, right? Incident sheet, call out sick, 30-day follow-up. So a 30-day review, right? The probation, 90-day follow-up and review. So you have structure again in place for your ongoing management of that employee, and you're doing these things, you're executing these things, in 30 days, you have a review with them. In 90 days, you have a review with them, right? And you go through this process with them. What comes out the other side of that is a staff member who understands what kind of company this is, right? That there's structure in place and that they're working for someone and they're not taking advantage. They're not like, well, I'll do whatever I want, right? You're creating a mindset. You're creating structure. Now let's talk about training. What does training look like? What does training look like? Well, they need to be working side by side with you for 2 weeks. If they're not doing that, you need to implement that immediately. And yes, it's going to cost you money initially, right? But that's part of the expense of operating a business, right? It's part of the cost of having a business. If you implement all this strategy that we're talking about here and the structure we're talking about here, on the other side, you're keeping staff longer term and you're not having to repetitively rehire, which costs you a lot more than having to train all the time. Or doing a proper training. It's a lot more to keep hiring over and over and over and over and over because you don't have a proper structure in place than it costs to train one good employee because you do have proper structure in place. So all these different elements you need in place, right? You need to have them in place. Everything we talked about in here, you need to sit down and put all this in place so that your staffing problems become less. Let's be transparent. The truth is, staffing will always be an issue for your company, whether you like it or not. There's nothing you can do to make it perfect, but you can make it perfect for your company by having structure in place, right? So here's two important things to note. All these forms and documents and the structure that's involved in here is in our paid training. Also, you have access to Heather, who's a personal coach for you inside our training. She has 23 staff. She has staff that's been with her for 5 years plus because she has this type of structure in place. She has this strategy, this system, this plan on how she reaches out to find staff, how she brings them into her business, how she trains them, and then the ongoing support, right? Those things all need to be in place if you want to lower the amount of issues you're having with getting staff. If you're interested in finding more about this opportunity and about having this type of structure in place and having a coach on your side to help you with staffing problems, just send us a message. It costs nothing, right? We can chat. And there's tons of resources in the group all the time that can help you with this. But none of this means anything if you don't execute, if you don't take action, right? If you don't take action, then it means nothing. Remember the 5 things, right? Put them in place, those 5 things, and create structure for your hiring process. Don't complain about your staff or finding staff if you have no structure in place, right? Because if you have structure in place and you have a really strong structure in place and you're still having staffing problems, then I can get complaining. But if you don't have proper structure in place, you have no right to complain. You're being a bad business owner. And again, I know that's hard to hear, but you got to tell it like it is. Anyways, hope everybody found some value in this. Make sure you put this in place, get this working immediately, because this will help you grow and scale your business and reduce your headaches.